You may have noticed in the previous video that after the if statement, one could express a single condition within the following parentheses. That condition may be as complex as you can imagine, with as many logical operators in it as you want. But it still is a single condition, and recall that if that condition is true, then the block of code within the curly braces is executed, and the control flow returns to the code that follows after the closing curly brace. What if you'd like to have some code executed only if that first condition is false? In that case, R, as any other programming language, includes another keyword, the keyword else. Else follows the first block of code after if and introduces a second block of code with curly braces. This second block of code is executed only if the first condition after if is false. Suppose the value of str1 is John and not Alex. Now, since the condition is not true, we can add the else keyword followed by a block of code that will be executed in our case scenario. I will simply add a print statement with the sentence, it seems your name is neither Alex nor Alexandros. Let's run it, and voila! The second print statement is executed instead, followed by the execution of the last line of the program that is outside of the curly braces. Let's move to another use case scenario of conditionals in R that is as often as the previous one. Let's say that in case the first condition is not true, you would like to run some code only if a second condition is met. That is when you need the else-if combination. For example, suppose that the second condition to check is whether the value of the str1 variable is equal to John. The else-if is added after the end of the first block of code. If that second condition is true, then a new code of block is added where I could add a print statement. For instance, it seems your name is John. Finally, I could add another else statement followed by one more block of code that will be executed only if the second condition is not true. Here I'm thinking of concatenating a string with a number, and the message will be, I may not know your name, but I know how long it is, followed by the length of the string str1. Recall that nchar or nchar is a function that returns the number of characters in a string. Finally, as you may suspect, I may indefinitely add new else-if statements as long as there is a reason. For instance, I could add one more else-if statement with one more condition with a comparison for equality. As you can see, the conditional execution is expressed by a sequential checking of conditions added after the first if statement or after its combination with else in else-if statements. As you read the code, you simply have to recognize when and which block of code is going to be executed. Conditional code execution is so useful in programming that people invented the so-called control flow charts that demonstrate graphically the steps that any programming language interpreter or compiler has to go through to execute a block of code. Usually, these control flow charts are very helpful to us humans too. So let's try to draw a control flow chart for the script with a single else if statement that we just saw. So right away, before I explain you any symbol of a control flow chart separately, I'm just going to go ahead and explain how code execution takes place while animating the control flow chart. First line of code has a variable assignment. str1 is assigned the string value Alex. Next step is the execution of the if statement. As you can see, transitions from one state of execution to another are denoted with an arrow. The if statement is included in a diamond-like shape and indicates that the R interpreter is in front of a condition. The branching in the execution depicts the two different paths of execution depending on whether the condition is met or not. If the condition is met, the next command downwards is executed. Otherwise, execution flow continues with the next condition that is expressed in the else if statement. The second branching, again, represents the two different execution paths depending on whether this second condition is satisfied or not. Now try to solve the coding exercise I prepared for you and check your code with the solution I will have uploaded on my GitHub account. I will include the link on the video description. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel in case you haven't done that yet, and press on the bell icon so that you can receive notifications when new content is uploaded. See you in the next video.